Hello and welcome to this special investor interview from Resolution Minerals. I'm Jane Morgan, Investor and Media Relations Manager, and today we're bringing you a timely and important conversation that coincides with the company's latest announcement to the ASX. As we've released on the ASX, we are pleased to announce the appointment of two industry experts, Mr. Steve Promnitz and Mr. Brett Lynch. Both Steve and Brett have been appointed as senior strategic advisors to RML and will be instrumental in guiding our North American expansion strategy, as well as unlocking the value of our flagship Horse Heaven project in Idaho, USA. Thank you for joining me, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Morning, Jane.
So, gentlemen, you're not strangers to creating enormous value in the critical minerals space. Steve, you were a part of Lake Resources, and Brett, you led Sayona Mining and into that transformational lithium powerhouse that it is. So together you're bringing multi-billion dollars in combined value creation and decades of experience, in particular developing North American assets within ASX-listed companies. Steve, I'm going to start with you for this one. What attracted you to Resolution Minerals in this opportunity?
Thank you, Jane, and thanks very much for any potential investors watching. Look, what's been interesting about Resolution is that they've picked the right project in the right location, and it's next to a huge project, and this looks like the twin sister as a clear extension. I've been looking at a number of critical mineral opportunities. Thankfully, a number of them actually come past me, and I think this one's got real legs and a real pathway to development.
And Brett, with your experience as well, perhaps you want to elaborate on why you've joined Resolution.
Yes, Jane. Look, as you said, I've had the experiences to be involved with now developing some fast-growing critical minerals companies in North America, lithium to rare earths. But what particularly caught my eye with Resolution Minerals was its potential position, as much as anything, in antimony. This is a supercritical mineral. It's right at the core and the heart of the US need to develop a secure supply chain. It's mission critical for the Department of Defense, and I think that's what enables RML to be able to take a leadership position from where it is today, move quickly, because the US government particularly is backing and supporting local supply chain solutions in the USA.
Oh, sorry.
And Jane, the great thing is that both for myself and Brett, we can actually see some gaps where each of us can make a clear difference. For myself, recent experience with both exploration, with permitting, and also in dealing with investors for more than the last 25 years. And Brett with his experience in how to develop projects, how to get them into production. So they're the sorts of things that I think that each of us can bring.
So Brett, with your experience, particularly in the US, what's going to shape that approach to RML's strategy?
So I think my background is specifically taking within these emerging critical minerals industries, particularly in North America, how to commercialize them and accelerate a secure supply chain within North America, specifically this one in the US. So when we look at the forces that are there, the US must have a secure supply chain for antimony. It is a supercritical mineral for the Department of Defense. Now, looking at where RML is positioned, it already has a footprint on an exceptional potential resource. And I think with my background, being able to find fast-track ways to commercialise that, and with the support of governments and networks, investor networks built up over the years, then hopefully I can bring some of that to bear to fast-track this.
So Brett, I'm going to stick with you for this one here. You've spoken about your experience in the US. Tell us what makes the Horse Heaven project stand out from other critical minerals projects that you've looked at?
Well, Jane, I think there's several factors when I've looked at that project and its potential. The first is its location and history. It is uniquely placed to arguably the largest, if not one of the largest, antimony now deposits in the US. It's now been permitted, and both the proximity as well as the history in that area of actually having produced both tungsten and antimony over the previous world wars gives it a head start, a unique head start on being able to then accelerate through to production. The second position for it, I think, is, or factor for its advantages, is also because the US government needs a solution for local supply of both of those critical metals. And we at RML are well placed to be part of that solution. Thirdly, I think there is also an opportunity for us to lead the downstream supply chain. The US solution requires a fully integrated supply chain in the US. That doesn't exist at the moment. There's fragments of it. But just like, has been the case in lithium and rare earths, highlighted by just what's happened with Mountain Pass and Apple, the US, and I mean commercial as well as government, are looking to invest significantly to make that happen. And I think we're placed to quickly develop strategies, partnerships that might accelerate us downstream to be having positions all the way, adding value in terms of production as well as the value chain. Lastly, but not least, I think the other tremendous commercial benefit for RML is that we have a multi-critical metal deposit, and specifically the gold. The gold is, I think, a unique asset to de-risking our business. We have not insignificant potential to develop significant reserves there. They could be fast-tracked into production, and with gold at record high prices and for miners' profitability, that is a unique way to de-risk and allow us to maximise shareholder value in funding and financing some, if not all, of our future capital expenditures and downstream as well.
Brett, you're right. Yes, gold at all-time highs is a phenomenal opportunity. But I think for the other users on the call, Steve, I'm going to hand to you for this one. Why is antimony and tungsten so important right now?
Look, thank you. The key thing is the USA needs to strengthen its self-sufficiency. As Brett mentioned, at the moment, it is solely reliant on imports for antimony. China is the main processor, processes virtually all of the antimony globally, and it essentially turned off the tap late last year. The US has the largest industrial military complex in the world, and so it needs this sort of military wartime applications, and naturally it wants to source some of that domestically. And we've seen since COVID the importance of geostrategic onshore supply lines, and that's why antimony is so important, and tungsten fits almost into the same category, very similar. So that's why this is great. And as Brett mentioned, you can essentially have gold to pay for your whole project, and then you get antimony and tungsten as the key things that the market needs right now.
Thank you, Steve. We've touched on this earlier, and your investor networks are second to none. How do you both plan to support that capital markets engagement for Resolution? Steve, to you probably first.
Resolution has its own executive team, and so they're well placed to do these things. Where I can assist is filling in some of those gaps. I've been going now to the US to investors for more than 25 years. I've been involved in previous successful OTC dual listings, And I've been doing that for nearly 20 years. And I was also recently involved in getting all the steps together for a NASDAQ listing of an ASX company. So they're the sorts of things that I can assist with. And secondly, you can spend a lot of time talking to people. It's a very large country. It has a huge population and therefore a very large investor base. So knowing who to talk to and who not to talk to are some of the things that certainly I can bring to the table for Resolution.
Brett, do you want to jump in?
Yeah. So Jane, I think just to add to that, combined, Steve and myself have got a unique set of experiences and skills to help, and has been demonstrated to help accelerate the growth of particularly ASX companies into developing leading positions in the North American market, whether that be our investor network, whether it be the government, whether it be off-takers and industrial companies we've worked with and developed connections, trust and confidence. I think that's where we can bring some unique value to RML.
So, gentlemen, why is now the right time for investors to be focusing on Resolution? Steve, I'll go to you first.
Right project, it's the right commodity, good team, and plenty of news flow to come.
And I think overarching that is the US government has to find a solution for its critical metals, and none more important than antimony. That will be found. They will deliver that, and we are well positioned to lead it.
Well, let's talk about that now. So what is the vision for RML over the next 12 months?
Well, from my side, assisting the team that's in place with the permitting, with investor contacts so that people are familiar with this story, demonstrating this is a mirror image to the major project next door, and then expanding that investor footprint and showing how this can be developed.
And I envisage, Jane, a RML becoming a leading player in the fully integrated supply chain for critical metals in USA. That will involve antimony and tungsten, and we will then be part of a number of partnerships that involve downstream, from mining to milling to refining and smelting. I envisage we have the ability to think and act fast to become part of that full downstream solution. But it's one step at a time. I have a philosophy of companies such as ours starting from a small base, little steps but quickly, not to miss the opportunity but to de-risk the projects. And we'll need to start first at the mine that we're seeing, and again I think it's a great example of a little step but quickly. We have been able, the team there, who are well versed in the geology, and the local stakeholders have demonstrated how quickly they can now get a permit to bring drilling back approved and into production so quickly, like within days, weeks, not months, years. And so I think that is a great first step. And then straight off the back of that, and I think that's again with the introduction of people like myself and Steve, we'll be thinking out a few steps forward on how we now can really bring into focus what we could deliver as part of the solution for the US government and Department of Defence. And in addition, how we then can identify, evaluate and negotiate with some downstream partners and players once we get into production.
Gentlemen, congratulations again on the appointment. What would you say to investors as a takeaway from the announcement today?
The key thing for any investment is timing. Resolution has got the right projects, they're in the right commodity, they're in the right location. The US needs this mineral. But the key thing is timing. So you have to deliver. There's a window open at the moment, and people like Brett and myself are just assisting the current executive team to fill in those gaps so that we can accelerate this project talk to the right people, make it happen.
From my side, Jane, I think the key message here is that Resolution's on the move. It's the right place. It's in the right place at the right time. And I think that just as Steve and I are now investors in Resolution, we're looking for some, little steps, but quickly. And that should be, I think, one hell of a ride for investors to move in. So enjoy.
And the great thing is, RML is not reinventing the wheel here. The next door neighbor, which is now becoming a behemoth, has already set the pathway. So we can just follow and improve on that and actually deliver something, but in a shorter time frame.
Steve and Brett, thank you so much for your time today. The Horse 7 project is unique. It's underexplored in the US, and as we've heard, it's in the right location and is building on that team to get into development. With the addition of both Steve and Brett, proven names in the industry, we're really excited about the next phase for Resolution. Thank you so much for your time. Look forward to future updates.
Thanks, Jane.
Thanks for the opportunity.